This convenience store worker used to be the most feared street fighter in the entire city, Kwon Daegun. Just hearing his name made delinquents cross the street. But that was 2 years ago, before he killed a bully with a single punch and got kicked out of school forever. Now he scans groceries, stocks, shelves, and pretends that version of himself never existed. Until tonight, a mysterious woman followed him home from work and stopped him on the street with an offer he never saw coming. Go back to high school, not as a student, as a weapon. She wants him to infiltrate the most dangerous school in the country and take down every bully inside, one by one. And as Daegun stares at her in disbelief, he realizes the most terrifying part isn't going back to the place that destroyed his life. It's how badly he's been waiting for an excuse to fight again. But before we watch him turn teenagers into human pretzels, we gotta rewind and see how this monster was born. So little baby Daegun was just your average weak elementary school kid with one simple dream: not to get his ass kicked every day. He started studying Bruce Lee manuals like sacred texts, all because some brown-haired scum decided to use his face as target practice on day one. The bully's fists connect with flesh, creating a symphony of pain that echoes through the classroom. Other kids freeze in terror. The teacher walks in, sees Daegun's face swollen like a tomato, and delivers nothing but a worthless scolding before moving on. Welcome to the education system. But unexpectedly, everything changes during recess. The school's top predator walks in, notices an orphan sign plastered on Daegun's back, and instantly loses his mind. The guy's also parentless and despises that cruel joke with every fiber of his being. He proceeds to brutally demolish the brown-haired bully, bones cracking, blood spraying, teaching Daegun the most critical lesson of his existence. In this world, only the strong deserve rights. And just like that, a monster is born. Fast forward years later, Daegun's body is now carved from pure muscle, transformed into the most terrifying high school student the area has ever witnessed. He becomes the undisputed king of Undong High School. But then tragedy strikes. During one fight, his fist accidentally connects with a gang member so violently, the guy literally dies on impact. Daegun's forced to drop out, his kingdom crumbling overnight. The demon vanishes, reduced to a scruffy, bearded convenience store clerk drowning in regret and unfulfilled rage. Present day, Daegun's at work, staring at a book, but his brain refuses to cooperate. His boss rambles about how young people lack passion these days, talking about studying anywhere, standing, sitting, even in bathrooms. Daegun's drowning in bitter thoughts. I shouldn't have dropped out. Where can I release this burning tension anymore? Meanwhile, in a filthy alley, thugs are terrorizing a kid, demanding money while wrapping arms around his neck and pummeling his face. The kid's trembling, stammering about asking his mom for cash. His girlfriend cackles like a hyena, taunting the kid about crying. Someone calls out from behind. A tattooed thug turns around. A muscular guy tells them to stop bullying the kid and buy him cigarettes instead. But unexpectedly, the muscle guy clarifies he was planning to buy some himself anyway. The thug's girlfriend clings to his arm all cute, wanting to tag along too. The lovely couple arrives at the store. The boss nervously signals Daegun he's heading to the back room. Daegun stays calm, greeting the tattooed customer, who immediately cuts him off, demanding 2 packs of cigarettes. But Daegun's mind races. Wait, this guy looks like a high school student. Daegun makes his move, requesting ID. The tattooed kid's face darkens, glaring while scratching his ear, asking how he's supposed to provide ID when his house isn't across the street. Daegun stands firm: no ID, no sale. Leave. The girlfriend loses her patience, face scrunching in disbelief. Daegun's just a part-timer being this harsh? The guy threatens him, wondering why Daegun's here instead of the old man. But unexpectedly, Daegun doesn't back down. The thug throws 50,000 won on the counter like trash. Daegun sighs internally about these little shits throwing money around, reminding them he needs ID. The guy ignores him, grabbing alcohol bottles and slamming them down. Daegun's patience evaporates. He snaps, asking if they understand what he's saying. The thug hears Daegun curse and instantly enters rage mode. He grabs Daegun's collar, threatening to break his jaw and make him mute. But Daegun just stares back with those dead, emotionless eyes. The boss peeks out nervously from the storage room. Knowing this thug has done this before, he awkwardly runs out, begging them to settle this outside privately. Daegun stares in disbelief. The boss is abandoning him completely. Daegun gets dragged into an empty alley. The thug grips his collar, demanding he repeat his earlier words, face red with rage. But Daegun remains calm as ice. The thug sneers. They're outside now. The part-timer has zero protection anymore. Then Daegun, cold as winter, stares him down and warns, "Let go of me. I'm giving you 3 seconds." The girlfriend covers her mouth, giggling hysterically at what she thinks is the funniest thing ever. This idiot giving them 3 seconds? Daegun, expressionless behind those glasses, starts counting. 1. The thug grits his teeth, eyes bulging as he winds up to throw a punch, screaming he's about to strike. But suddenly, someone's eyes go blurry. Record scratch. The girlfriend's screaming for her boyfriend to wake up. Daegun's standing there with hands in pockets, staring coldly. The thug's confused, asking what happened. His girlfriend explains he got punched and passed out instantly. His eyes go unfocused, asking who did it. He looks at Daegun, brain struggling to compute why Daegun's still standing there perfectly fine. The girlfriend helps him stand. He wipes his mouth, realizing it hasn't even been a minute. He whispers to his girlfriend to call more people over. She's confused at first, then his eyes bulge with rage as he screams right in her face to call reinforcements. She finally understands and runs off. The thug glares at Daegun with his swollen face, claiming Daegun lost, asking if he knows who they are. Daegun's face fills with pure rage, grinding his teeth. The killer intent radiating off him is suffocating. His hand lands on the guy's shoulder. Daegun grabs his collar, asking how old he is. Before the guy can finish being stubborn, Daegun applies crushing pressure directly to his throat. His face contorts in agony as he collapses, trembling and revealing he's 17. His face turns red, struggling to breathe. Eyes squeeze shut as sweat pours down. Daegun's still pressing on his throat as the guy feels like he's actually dying. Daegun coldly warns him to never act tough again. If he comes to buy cigarettes again, he'll kill him. But suddenly, a whole gang of tattooed thugs arrives, laughing and asking what's happening. They see their friend kneeling before Daegun. Seeing reinforcements arrive, Daegun looks over, face unreadable, noting everyone's here now. A fat guy who appears to be the leader walks forward sternly, asking if the part-timer's insane. Daegun looks up at the tall guy, slightly hesitant, asking if he's not a high school student or if he brought his uncle. The guy glares, saying he's from Nadong Odaehan High School. He raises his hand, smirking, saying he's itching for a fight. Go ahead, punch him first. But before he finishes speaking, Daegun throws a devastating punch straight to his face. Spit flies out. His face swells instantly as he screams in pain. The big guy collapses unconscious. The girlfriend watches in shock. Ihan just fell down after one hit. Daegun glares at the group coldly, declaring he can't stay here any longer and they should all come at once. The remaining thugs look confused. One scrunches his face and charges forward with a fist. Daegun calmly pulls his hand from his pocket. He lands one clean shot to the face, making the guy spit blood as he flies backwards screaming. Another swings. Daegun weaves through it effortlessly, then strikes the guy's arm upward. He follows up with a brutal elbow straight to the face, completely deforming it. Blood shoots from his nose. He gets knocked backward too. Another guy swings. Daegun spins around, rotates once, then lands a punch that sends him flying. One thug grabs a beer bottle nearby, trembling. He looks up at Daegun, face darkening, standing up with the bottle and screaming, "Daegun's gonna die." But before finishing the sentence, Daegun's fist already connected. He punched him straight in the chest, sending him flying backward. The beer bottle goes flying. The thug's body convulses in agony, eyes rolling back before collapsing. Daegun scratches his head, looking at the guy who hasn't attacked yet, asking if he's gonna fight or not. The guy's face contorts, sweating bullets, frozen in place. Without doubt, someone this powerful, there's only one person it could be. He looks at Daegun, also confused. But unexpectedly, the guy explains Daegun's a senior who used to attend his school, right? The girlfriend turns around in complete shock. Kwon Daegun, the leader of the Inon area? She remembers the image of Daegun in uniform, having demolished all opposition, walking with hands in pockets. The Incheon area, which had been drowning in blood 2 years ago, was completely swept clean in just 1 week. She adds that getting shot would be better than getting beaten by Kwon Daegun. Then she looks back and evaluates, but honestly, he's pretty handsome. So, rumors are just rumors, right? The remaining guy quickly bows 90 degrees, shouting he didn't know and begging forgiveness. Daegun feels awkward, approaching and grabbing the back of his head, telling him not to talk nonsense. The guy shouts apologies. Daegun looks at the girl standing there with wide red eyes, asking if she's okay. She stutters. Daegun sighs, looking at the people lying unconscious in pain behind him, asking what they should do with them. They wake up the others. Now, they're all kneeling on the ground, with hands clasped behind their backs, heads bowed, blood rushing to their heads, making their faces bright red in utter humiliation. Daegun sitting on top of the white-shirted thug. His body trembles. Daegun orders him to straighten his arms. Daegun bounces on top of the guy's body, coldly warning that if they come to the convenience store one more time and act like trash, it'll truly be the end for them. The group panics and shouts understanding. On the other side, someone's secretly observing Daegun and recording video. That evening, the sky's tinted with sunset colors. On the familiar road, Daegun walks with hands in pockets, thinking about how those bullies prevented him from studying. But he feels like he's exercised his arm after such a long time. Suddenly, Secretary Lai appears next to him, arms crossed. Daegun walks past her, but she blocks his path, raising her hand to adjust her glasses, asking to talk for a bit. Daegun looks confused, saying he doesn't have time. She calmly hands him a business card. Daegun takes it, confused about what should education temperance means. Previously, Gabriel was looking at her puzzled, asking if she really contacted him and if he agreed to the proposal. Secretary Lai's eyes fill with determination. Cut to daytime at school. Daegun's standing at the gate with his bag, sighing about truly being here. He walks in while loosening his tie, wearing a student uniform. He's also shaved his beard, cut his hair, and removed his glasses. Daegun sighs about starting high school at age 20. He remembers his conversation with Secretary Lai. Daegun was picking his ear, looking extremely confused about this Aegon leader Yujin concept. She adjusted her glasses seriously, explaining it's exactly like the project name. She thinks it'll be feasible after seeing his abilities before. Daegun was sipping coffee, completely lost, asking if she's conducting stupid stuff under the guise of education. But unexpectedly, she stood up very seriously, revealing they investigated information about him. Daegun looked confused, asking who she is. She leaned in close, hand on his shoulder, eyes full of understanding as she whispered that he's more useless than anyone else, so he shouldn't try acting strong anymore. Even if he thinks it's absurd, she knows he doesn't have the ability to refuse. This isn't the time to brag about the past. Daegun heard this and glared. Unable to refute, she asked if this isn't a chance to make up for all past mistakes. Daegun's face calmed, asking what he should do first. The first day, back at school, Daegun's calmly walking through the hallway. His tall figure makes female students whisper non-stop about the handsome transfer student. The homeroom teacher points at the mesmerized students, telling them to return to class quickly. Inside class, Jungmin's being carried around on someone's back. He calls out to others about eating bread. Someone reminds him to forget the bread rotation thing today. Isn't there a new transfer student coming? Jungmin gets off and approaches Dongmin, mentioning that giant elephant dropped out. Suddenly, the homeroom teacher opens the door, urging them to stop gathering and come in. The homeroom teacher walks in holding a ruler, glaring and telling them to stop talking and sit down. Daegun walks in behind him. The teacher introduces the new transfer student, telling him to introduce himself. Daegun puts his hands in pockets, looking at the students, introducing himself as Daegun Kwon from Incheon. Below, female students gasp, eyes bulging without blinking. The boys are also wide-eyed. Jungmin laughs, telling Hodong that Juri's doing her makeup again and will probably like the new student. Juri's reapplying powder, full of excitement. But Dongmin's face fills with anger, eyes wide, muttering that the transfer student should expect a lesson on his first day. The teacher looks at the empty spot, explaining one student dropped out, so that seat's empty. Daegun sits down, smiling friendly and waving hello to his neighbor, asking his name. The guy greets back with a smile, introducing himself as Minsu Kim. Minsu focuses on writing while reminding Daegun this class will probably differ from his previous one. Daegun also puts on glasses, saying he needs them to study. Jungmin stretches and smiles, asking if they should start. Someone comments, Daegun looks really old. He quickly gets cocky, telling them to shut up and look at him when he's talking. Daegun's intently listening to Minsu lecture. Behind them, Jungmin's gradually approaching. He raises his hand. Minsu's face freezes. Immediately after, Jungmin lands a hit to the back of his neck, cursing at him to disappear. Daegun next to him flinches, taking off his glasses to look at them, wondering what the hell's happening. The guy glares with wide eyes, furrowing his brow and laughing mockingly, telling Daegun he's happy to have a friend but should shut his mouth and go buy sausage bread. Jungmin explains Daegun's old friend used to handle buying bread, but dropped out without sincerity. Jungmin adds that now the parasite's gone, asking if Daegun thinks he can escape. He should take responsibility for his friend, right? Immediately after, he grabs Minsu's chin, reminding him he's now officially in charge of buying bread. Congratulations. Minsu looks with panic-filled eyes, stuttering. He shows his watch, explaining he can't, because there's a class right after discussion period. But Dongmin below bursts out laughing at what the idiot's saying. Dongmin props his chin with his hand, eyes closed, then open, smiling about feeling like he knows more because of Minsu's kindness. Immediately after, he closes his face, grinding teeth full of anger, telling everyone to close their eyes. The students quickly squeeze their eyes shut. He growls that if anyone dares open them, they'll pay the price. Daegun's confused, looking at the group wondering if they really closed their eyes. Without hesitation, Jungmin hits Minsu's head, asking if he's crazy. Continuous hits follow, making Minsu panic and raise hands to cover his head. Dongmin's full of anger, glaring, saying he's starting to get annoyed. He orders Minsu to go. Daegun sees this and grinds his teeth in difficulty. Look at that scum, if I deal with him. But Daegun remembers reading the contract terms. Follow the project's security controls. Don't cause violence beyond limits. Don't punish without justification. Don't get caught. How the hell are there so many laws? What does she want me to do when I have to follow all this? Secretary Lai was holding a tablet, explaining that because it's a secret project, they can't be anything but careful. Back to the present, Daegun furrows his brow and glances to the side, thinking there are so many rules here. Minsu's voice fills with trembling as he apologizes. Then Jungmin shifts his target to Daegun, asking why he isn't closing his eyes. Daegun casually glances over, saying he was about to. Dongmin smiles even more happily, patting Minsu's head, explaining Daegun doesn't know what's happening since he just got here. The seat he's sitting in used to belong to someone who handled buying bread, smiling happily, suggesting they go together. Minsu's helpless and flustered, asking if Daegun wants to go with him. Daegun raises his hand to scratch his head, closing his eyes full of annoyance, saying no one person going is enough. Why should they go together? After hearing this, Minsu's flustered, apologizing. Dongmin bursts out laughing in joy, asking if these baby birds are really comparing their ranks. Jungmin squints his eyes, joining in the fun about how annoying they are. Immediately after, he glares wide-eyed, full of satisfaction, reminding Daegun not to stand there acting confident and to go quickly. Daegun doesn't want the hassle, so he props his hand on the desk and stands up. Then he waves his hand up, reminding them with complete indifference that it's not a big deal. Alright then, give him the money. But Dongmin glares at the finger that's beckoning, asking what this is and why Daegun isn't taking out his wallet. He grabs Daegun's head, shouting if he's crazy, but Daegun looks completely calm. Immediately after, Dongmin presses close to Daegun's face, angry, telling him not to point at his face like that. The money will obviously be Daegun's. The guy curses, making Daegun sigh helplessly. Didn't his parents give him pocket money? Or does he not have parents? Daegun's eyes turn ice cold as he glances up. Dongmin's arm is still gripping his head, muttering that his mouth and hands are starting to itch. Immediately after, Daegun swings his fist into Dongmin's ribs, making him cry out in pain as blood spills from his mouth, eyes wide in shock. Next, Daegun lands a punch straight to his face. His face gets hit and deforms, flying backward. The students in class widen their eyes, watching the situation in utter confusion. Daegun still swinging his fist calmly with a smile. Who cares about those ridiculous rules? Fists are the law of school. Immediately after, one final finishing blow makes Dongmin fall down. His body falls back, beaten to a pulp. Juri sees this, and her eyes widen in shock. The other kids in class also widen their eyes in confusion. The demon has returned to his throne, and this is only the beginning. He then approached the second bully, making him grit his teeth for daring to talk back and fight. Daegun gave him a straight punch to the gut, making him wince and endure the pain. He was about to land another blow when the fat guy woke up and charged with an iron chair, but Daegun knocked him out cold again, for the second time, in front of the whole class. As he was straightening out the two bullies, another person walked in, striking fear into everyone. This was Manhwa, the true leader of the class. Manhwa was clearly no ordinary guy, immediately recognizing Daegun's fighting prowess. At first, Manhwa casually talked to Daegun, but the moment Daegun looked away, he launched a sneak attack. Daegun recognized his stance. He was aiming for the lower body, the quickest way to take down a male opponent. Everyone instinctively lowered their hands to block, and by the time Daegun realized it was a feint, it was too late. Manhwa had already delivered a powerful punch to Daegun's face. While Daegun was dazed, Manhwa lunged again, but this time, Daegun tripped him. Before he could fall, Daegun grabbed his collar and slammed him back, leaving him dazed on the ground. After that day, every morning, Daegun would gather the bullies and tell them not to mess with their classmates. I can be your friend, or your dad. It depends on how you act, so behave yourselves. He then warned everyone, from now on, if anyone bullies, just tell me. I'll give them plastic surgery so their own parents won't recognize them. The other boys were a little scared but incredibly grateful. He's amazing. During class, Daegun listened attentively, making up for all the time he'd spent fighting before. As for the three bullies, they clearly weren't used to the change. As soon as class ended, the fat one stretched and complained he was hungry, about to order someone to get food. He shivered when he saw Daegun staring. The blonde one cursed his friend, telling him not to be reckless, but he himself was still riding on a classmate's back. It took a moment for the blonde to realize his bad habit. He quickly jumped off and apologized. I didn't mean to. Why did you suddenly kneel for me to climb on? He then told the classmate, next time, hold still. They might have said that, but everyone felt frustrated and plotted revenge. If you're a hero, waiting 10 years isn't too long. A beautiful girl in class, Jisoo, got bored watching these pathetic guys. She ran over to Daegun, clinging to him and asking him out. She had used the same sweet talk to flirt with all three bullies before, so they assumed Daegun would fall for it too. Jisoo kept trying to seduce him, but oddly, Daegun kept looking behind her for a while. She finally realized she was blocking his view of the board. She saw him answering her questions while still furiously copying notes. Clearly, he was a bookworm, and any seduction would be pointless. Jisoo angrily stood up and went to the three bullies. She chastised them, telling them to study and become proper people, and to forget about revenge. Just then, a tall, blonde guy walked in, asking Manhwa about being beaten by a new student. This was the leader from the next class. Manhwa knew this dog was here to provoke him. He rolled up his sleeves and grabbed a pen, ready to fight. The two were jawing at each other, about to throw down, when Daegun's shout stopped them, telling them it's too loud. He wants to study. Manhwa got the hint and went back to his seat. The blonde leader also led his gang back to their class, not forgetting to throw a few more taunts. So salty. Before leaving, he approached Daegun to talk, but Daegun ignored him, diligently copying his notes. That attitude infuriated him. As he was about to tear Daegun's notebook, Daegun's hand clamped down on his, bending it back. The blonde's face contorted in pain as he begged for mercy. Only when tears and snot streamed down his face did Deon loosen his grip slightly. He gently reminded him, "I need to finish copying these notes before recess ends. If you don't want to lose a finger, come back later, okay?" Once released, the blonde profusely apologized and called his gang back to class. Of course, that was all talk. Immediately after, he lunged at Deon with a surprise punch. The blonde didn't expect Deon to have anticipated this trick. Deon easily dodged and slapped him, sending him tumbling backward. His companion was terrified to see their class leader knocked out in one move. So scary. Not just him, but the entire class, and the 3 bullies were dumbfounded. It was then they realized they should learn to forgive instead of seeking revenge. It would be good for their teeth, or they wouldn't even have jaws left to eat porridge. Just then, another group of tattooed, inked-up guys arrived, asking about Manhwa's health. Hearing the irritating voice of the leader, Manhwa wanted to grab his pen again, but he knew they weren't targeting him. Around 10 of them surrounded Deon's desk. In this situation, Deon knew he couldn't keep copying notes. The leader stared at Deon, politely asking his deskmate to move so they could talk easily. He introduced himself as Sanho from Class C and stated directly that he didn't want Deon to become the school boss. But seeing Deon's unperturbed face, who even frankly said he was too weak, Sanho knew this new student had some guts. He set up a meeting after school at the gate and led his gang away. Deon watched them leave, a little embarrassed. He hadn't expected to attract so much attention on his first few days. Just then, Manhwa walked over, asking to sit with him. Despite Deon's refusal, he pushed a chair over and sat down, reminding him that Sanho was a true fighter. Turns out, Manhwa wanted to help Deon defeat Sanho, but Deon didn't need it. Manhwa ignored Deon's protests and continued to babble about Sanho's fighting style and how to counter him. Sanho had apparently learned boxing since middle school, all to become the school boss. He regularly used his classmates as punching bags, beating them until they were utterly battered. Many even ended up in the hospital, but they never dared to speak up due to Sanho's terrifying presence. At lunchtime, everyone began to stare in awe at the handsome new student. His recent glorious victories had caught the attention of the other class leaders. Deon, however, ignored it all, focused on his meal. It had been a long time since he'd eaten cafeteria food, so nostalgic. Soon after, Manhwa's entire gang gathered around him. This guy still wouldn't leave Deon alone, warning him about Sanho again. He couldn't even eat in peace, so persistent. Deon asked why he wanted to take down Sanho. Turns out, he'd fought him before, and something had happened. In that fight, Sanho initially had the upper hand with his superior boxing skills, and he beat me senseless. I had no choice but to use the most ruthless and despicable move, a low blow, leaving him in agonizing pain, screaming, "Surrender." But even I couldn't acknowledge my victory afterward, feeling incredibly guilty. In short, he's a boxer with many quick dodging techniques. As they argued, a pile of papers flew into Deon's food. It was 2 of Sanho's underlings, playing tricks and smirking as they apologized. They were about to run off when Deon grabbed their arms, stopping them. Everyone knew a big fight was about to break out. This was also an opportunity for the other class leaders to observe the new student's fighting style. Deon was indeed furious. His grip tightened, making the guy terrified. He knew he'd messed with the wrong person and was about to get a good beating. Just then, a message came from the Hwang Ryong organization, so Deon temporarily let them go. They seized the opportunity to bolt. What luck! Deon checked the message. The female manager asked him to meet her after school. He remembered her talking a lot about rules, not just to restrain him, but also to protect the organization's existence. If he caused too much trouble and exposed their identities, he'd go back to his boring, poor life. On the other hand, the reward after the project would be an incredibly huge sum of money. So, a little restraint would probably be okay. Deon reminded himself, then took his tray, leaving the Manhwa gang still chanting for him to defeat Sanho. This guy was obsessed. As Deon stepped outside, he ran into the guy who had thrown papers at him before. Recognizing Deon, he turned to run, but Deon grabbed his collar and asked about his health. This guy was stubborn and didn't apologize, citing a rule that no one could touch a student from another class unless they defeated their leader. What a crappy rule. Deon quickly punched him a few times, making him spit and collapse. He then ordered him to call Sanho out so he could deal with him too. The guy said Sanho was busy punching a sandbag. Deon realized he was using classmates as punching bags. Deon warmed up, stretching his arms and legs, deciding to go straight to Sanho's class. Indeed, when he arrived, Sanho was standing between 2 students with swollen faces. Sanho decided to fight Deon and released the 2 punching bags outside. But first, he forced them not to say that their injuries were his doing. Meanwhile, Deon noticed the class was full of students, but they dared not do anything. Deon completely understood that feeling of helplessness, as he had been no different before. Back then, when a bully made him cry, even the teacher pretended not to notice, afraid of getting involved. In the end, that bully was suppressed by an even stronger person, who declared that no one was to touch him again. Deon knew it was just an angry statement, but it had helped him avoid trouble ever since. Now, Deon decided he would become the strongest bully to control these rotten delinquents. One of Sanho's delinquent companions threw a punch at Deon, but Deon quickly took him down with a single blow. Deon found this fat guy quite satisfying to hit. He wouldn't be a bad punching bag. Sanho was furious to hear this, but still restrained himself, knowing his opponent was no pushover. He ordered the class to clear the desks to make space for their duel. Deon recognized Sanho's stance. He was an outboxer, maintaining distance during attacks for quick blows. News of the fight quickly spread, drawing everyone to Class C to witness it. The Manhwa gang couldn't believe they were fighting so early, but luckily, they arrived just in time. Sanho held his hands up by his face, bouncing a bit, then suddenly lunged at Deon, throwing quick jabs. His punches were much faster than an ordinary outboxer's, constantly tracking Deon's movements. Just as Deon spotted an opening and prepared to attack, Sanho quickly retreated, maintaining distance. His instincts were good, showing professional training from a young age, and above all, his speed was incredible. Deon struggled to dodge Sanho's relentless attacks, but remained calm enough to land a surprise punch. Sanho realized it too late to dodge and braced, taking the direct hit and stumbling back. He now looked at his hand, red and throbbing. Beastly strength indeed. Though slightly injured, Sanho had successfully gauged Deon's reach. He suddenly charged again, predicting Deon was about to strike. Sanho guarded, stepping back, narrowly avoiding the end of Deon's punch, leaving an opening. This was his chance. However, before he could do anything, Deon delivered a powerful low kick to his knee joint. Sanho winced in pain but forced himself to throw a hook punch, which Deon easily dodged. Immediately after, Deon repeated the low kick to his knee. The leader of Class D, witnessing this, felt the pain himself and quickly realized that Sanho had mastered his opponent's punches, but neglected to watch for low kicks. Consider one leg out of commission. Sanho's speed would be severely affected now. Deon's face was cold as he told Sanho to get up and keep fighting. Seeing his aggressive attitude hadn't changed, Deon delivered another powerful kick, sending Sanho flying backward onto the floor in pain. After a moment, he managed to stand up, one leg trembling. Truly a king of endurance. The moment he saw Deon raise his leg to kick again, he guarded, tucking his leg up to avoid hitting the old injury. But it was a feint. Deon quickly delivered a powerful hook punch, sending Sanho flying and pinning him against the wall. Deon gave his opponent no time to rest, closing in and launching a barrage of direct attacks. He even broke through Sanho's guard, focusing on his weak points, leaving Sanho no choice but to stand there and take it. Sanho's situation was no different from a punching bag. He had trained every day in the gym, and everyone admired his strength. However, he had never participated in any competitions, because at school, he used his classmates as punching bags to torment them, and that was much more satisfying than gym equipment. Not only that, there was a whole line of people waiting to get beaten. Why compete when he had this much fun? Sanho never expected to be the punching bag for someone else. He gradually absorbed the pain, but Deon didn't stop until the punching bag broke and fell. That was when Sanho completely collapsed, silently accepting that he couldn't defeat Deon. Deon coldly walked over. "I'll give you 10 seconds to get back up and be my punching bag again." Everyone waited anxiously, including Sanho's friends. This guy was sweating, knowing Sanho was obsessed with meat punching bags and even had dragon tattoos. He did all this to try to make himself stronger, all for appearances, but he was actually terrified of getting beaten. Unable to control himself, he stopped Deon and spoke for Sanho, admitting defeat. But what Deon needed was to hear those words from Sanho's own mouth. When he saw Sanho grudgingly accept defeat, Deon didn't push it. He forgave him and returned to class, leaving Sanho kneeling in shame before everyone, and they were all happy to escape the bullying. On his way back, he encountered a rude guy who mocked him, asking if he was here to be Sanho's punching bag. But when he looked into the classroom, he saw the truth, his face paling in terror. He apologized to Deon and quickly returned to class. Just then, the Manhwa gang swaggered out as if the victory was theirs. All images of the fight were sent to the organization, and the director praised the manager for the good project. He wanted to abolish the rules and let Deon act on his own, but the manager strongly objected. However, the director reassured her not to worry. He's just a cat chasing dirty, squirming mice. It will be very difficult to catch them. But on the other hand, that cat is in our hands, so let them run wild and satisfy their desires. That very day, the news of Sanho's defeat spread throughout the school, reaching the ears of other class leaders. But they seemed genuinely strong and didn't care. One Class D leader, Yu Seol, known for his intelligence, noticed something different about Deon and realized a clear plan was needed. The female student next to him reassured him that if there was any problem, she would call her Appa to handle everything for her. This heavily made-up girl was Bei-woo, self-proclaimed queen of the entire grade, who forced everyone to acknowledge her title. After class, the Manhwa gang rushed to Deon, reminding him that he'd have to deal with countless strong enemies soon. They then invited Daegun to a PC cafe, but he was busy noticing the organization's car waiting for him. Deon turned them down, saying he was a challenger rank and didn't like fighting with lower ranks. He then walked to the car, leaving the frustrated guys to grumble and plot revenge. But that was just venting. No one dared to actually do anything. Behind them, the school flower, Gina, also noticed Deon getting into the female manager's car. She seemed shocked, as if she knows something about the manager or the organization. In the car, the manager chastised Deon for causing so much trouble in just a few days. Deon was a little nervous, afraid the contract would be cancelled because of this, but she immediately reassured him that there would be no penalty. We've just made some changes to the plan, and we're planning to reduce the rules for you. Simply put, just keep acting like you did today. Deon was a little confused, thinking about how he'd just spent the day fighting and taking down everyone. But then he understood, secretly delighted. Wait, how do you know everything that happened today? Deon recalled his deskmate acting suspiciously. He might be a spy. He'd have to be more careful in the future. After that, the manager took Deon to a fancy apartment, introducing it as his new place provided by the organization. He couldn't believe he'd ever live in a place with such a wonderful sofa. But I want to live alone, not share with you. The manager gave him a cold look, chastising him for talking nonsense, as she already had a boyfriend. After leaving him a spending card, she said goodbye, but she didn't go home yet. She went down to the apartment complex's basement. Turns out, this was Deon's surveillance room, so he'd have a hard time doing anything bad. The next morning, Deon was tired, complaining that he wasn't used to the fancy bed. He only snapped awake when the teacher shouted loudly. Turns out, some petty guys had tattled on him to the homeroom teacher, so he was being lectured. Next to him, the school flower, Gina, had been watching him for days. After getting some documents from the principal's office, she lingered, observing Deon for a while, before finally returning to class. Who knows what she was up to? Deon also found it strange today that his deskmate, Min-soo, started wearing glasses just like him. Was there a hidden camera in them? When he asked, he learned that Min-soo actually loved wearing glasses. But ever since the fat kid, Ji-mo, started picking on kids with glasses and using them as keychains for fun, he hadn't dared to wear them. Hearing this, Deon was furious. He turned and cursed the jerk, making Ji-mo jump. Though he didn't understand what was happening, out of habit, he automatically started doing push-ups as punishment. Good boy, isn't he? On her way home, Gina secretly followed Deon, trying to figure out his relationship with the mysterious manager. Deon was unaware, only noticing 4 suspicious guys following him. Even after he made 4 turns around a building, they were still right behind him. Gina also ran after them, secretly guessing these 4 were from his school and meant him harm. Too curious, she ran closer to observe, but one of the big guys in the group spotted her. This delusional guy thought she liked him and hastily invited her to a motel. Panicked, Gina pulled out pepper spray and sprayed him directly in the face, making him clutch his face in agony. This alerted the other 3, who turned to confront her. Seeing the delinquents approaching, Gina was terrified, but luckily, Deon stepped in to stop them. The fat guy furiously took off his shirt, revealing his 1-pack abs, and challenged Deon. He even pulled out a cigarette to prove how cool he was. As he pouted, about to blow smoke at Deon quickly grabbed his mouth and slammed him to the ground. Immediately after, a powerful slap made the fat guy eat dirt, spitting and collapsing. The other 3 couldn't believe their strongest member was so easily defeated, so they decided to charge all at once. If this doesn't work out, Gong will kill us. Turns out, these were second-year delinquents hired by Gong from Class D to deal with Deon. Gong was known for his cunning and was the son of a famous conglomerate owner, so he always hired people to do his dirty work. But he didn't expect that even these second years couldn't do anything. Deon was currently dealing with the last remaining guy. Despite his fear, he gritted his teeth and charged, but Deon restrained him, delivering a punch to his ribs. The pain was so intense that he bent over, and his face almost accidentally hit Deon's knee. Luckily, Deon stopped just in time. In a basement, there were hurried footsteps, the fat delinquent running away. A ghostly hand. Finally, he saw a light at the end of the tunnel. Just as he was about to escape, the sinewy hand grabbed him. Then, a crushing punch to the face made him snap awake, realizing it was just a dream. Deon lined up the 4 guys neatly, gave each a few kicks to the shins, and asked for the mastermind. All these images were reported by 2 scouts from another school to Gong, making him furious. Deon had already interrogated them and learned the identity of the ringleader. He then asked about the girl, Gina. The fat guy confessed that she was following him because she liked him. Liking you? You stinking gorilla? Who would like you? Hearing these words from the beauty made him feel like he'd been stabbed 1,000 times. Gina ignored everything and walked away, passing the 2 scouts. They noticed her. Being from another school, seeing this beautiful girl sparked evil intentions in them. The next morning, Dagun went to Class E to find Gong, but he ran into the fat guy, Jang Jimo. Annoyed, Dagun was about to beat him again when the queen, Bei Wu, stepped in to stop him. She recognized Dagun as the new student who always caused trouble and boldly slapped him, knocking his glasses off. Minutes ago, she had been so fierce, but when she saw Dagun's handsome face, she froze. She even unconsciously called him Oppa. Clearly, those glasses sealed away his good looks too well. Just then, the fat guy, Jang Jimo, was kicked squarely in the face, followed by countless slaps, making him spit. Dagun observed and realized the culprit was Gong, and Gong confidently confirmed that he was the one Dagun was looking for. Dagun didn't waste a single breath. Yeah, you're Gong all right. And I'm here for a very specific reason. Gong raised an eyebrow. We don't exactly have history, man. What's this about? Dagun rubbed his temples like he was dealing with the world's dumbest question. What's it about? It's about... And just like that, Dagon's fist rocketed toward Gong's face. Gong's eyes went wide. He clearly wasn't expecting a surprise punch to the skull. But before the hit could land, Yusol jumped in and blocked it cold. Yusol's face twisted in confusion. Everything was chill 2 seconds ago. Why the sudden violence? Dagun tilted his head. And who are you supposed to be? Yusol blinked, thrown off. I'm Yusol from Class E. Look, I don't have the authority to meddle in other classes' business, but I can't just stand here while you throw hands like a maniac. Without warning, Yusol swept his leg out, trying to trip Dagun and slam him to the ground. But the next second, Yusol's entire face went red, veins bulging like they were about to burst. He held his stance, pushing with everything he had, but Dagun didn't budge, not even an inch. Yusol's mind was racing now. Am I getting weaker? I'm using full force here and this guy's standing there like I'm a gentle breeze. Dagun, completely unbothered, casually remarked. Not bad strength. Were you actually trying to knock me over? Yusol awkwardly released him, clearly embarrassed. That's not the point. Look, people fight here all the time, but we still deserve to know why, don't we? Right then, Gong slung his arm around Jang Jimo's shoulder. Is this about yesterday's little incident? Then, without hesitation, he grabbed Jimo by the hair and yanked hard. You absolute idiot. Start explaining yourself. Now. But before Jimo could even open his mouth, Gong slapped him so hard the sound echoed through the hallway. Then came the kick. The more I think about what you did, the angrier I get. You went around causing chaos using my name. Jimo didn't fight back. He just kept apologizing over and over like a broken record. But Gong wasn't done. Did water leak into your skull or something? You made people think I was behind this mess. Finally, Gong stopped his assault on Jimo and turned to face Dagun. Look, I'll admit I didn't keep my guys on a tight enough leash, but coming after me without a shred of proof? That's a bit much, don't you think? Dagun stood there, completely lost. He glanced at Jimo. I guess there's no evidence. Gong stepped forward, ready to explode. Quit acting like you're innocent. But Yusol immediately stopped him. He probably realizes he accused the wrong guy. Then he turned to Dagun. You got the wrong person, man. We're not interested in some power ranking nonsense. Right on cue, the bell rang for class. Dagun stood there, feeling like he'd been played like a fiddle. He knew something was off about this whole situation. Attacking now would make him look like the bad guy, so he turned and walked out of Class E. Behind him, Gong smirked. Yusol, your acting deserves an award. Yusol let out a nervous breath. I was sweating bullets the whole time, but that guy's legitimately terrifying. You were right. It's better if you don't get directly involved. Gong pulled out his phone, grinning. In that case, we moved to Plan B. Meanwhile, back in class, Dagun couldn't stop replaying what had just happened. He knew this was Gong's scheme, but the way they distanced themselves from the whole thing was calculated. If he'd thrown a punch back there, he'd be labeled the villain. Now, their attitude was all vague and slippery, leaving him with no solid justification to beat them senseless. At that exact moment, the teacher on stage started lecturing about wars being fought for self-interest. But even so, he explained, you still need a public justification to make it seem legitimate. Hearing this, Dagun had a light bulb moment. I see. So that's how I handle them. Over in Class E, Gong was still tormenting Jimo and his crew. They were fuming internally, but didn't dare say a word. Jimo could only grumble to himself. You don't even have the guts to fight the transfer student one-on-one. And yet here you are lecturing us like you're some big shot. At that moment, Gong was already dialing a number. The person on the other end? Jungman from Bungun High School. Gong filled him in on the transfer student situation. Jungman asked, so, what happened to this guy after all that? Gong replied. That's where you and your crew come in. I wanted to handle him at school, but none of these guys can actually fight. Once you've beaten him to a pulp, I'll step in and finish the job completely. Jungman chuckled. No problem. The guy's got some skills, sure, but with our numbers, we'll crush him. Then Jincha leaned in and said, can we grab that girl from yesterday too? Gong looked confused. Who's Jimo talking about? Jimo immediately thought of Gina. Why drag her into this? She has nothing to do with it. Gong asked Jincha why he wanted the girl. Jincha grinned. That girl's exactly my type. Since we're already dealing with the transfer student, why not have some fun with her on the side? Gong instantly agreed and told Jimo his job was to bring the girl along. Jimo's stomach dropped. She's innocent. This isn't right. Then he remembered the school rules. You can't touch a student from another class without defeating their leader first. He spoke up. That girl's from Class A. If we mess with her, Sanho, the Class A leader, won't just sit back and watch. Gong waved him off. Girls don't pay protection fees, so it doesn't matter. Besides, how strong can some bookworm from Class A really be? After we're done with this, we'll absorb Class A too. Just bring those 2 people over. Jimo was panicking inside. How the hell am I supposed to bring 2 people into a trap? Jimo found Daegun and dropped to his knees, apologizing profusely. Behind him, the Manhwa gang was stunned. They'd heard this guy defeated 4 people yesterday. He was incredible. But now there was no chance to build a good relationship with him. Daegun kicked Jimo lightly. So you finally realized you screwed up, huh? Daegun wanted to teach him a proper lesson, but the more he looked at Jimo's pathetic face, the more he pitied him. He started lecturing Jimo instead and told him to apologize to the girl from yesterday too. Jimo nodded quickly. I'll apologize right away. And to show my sincerity, I'd like to treat you to some tteokbokki. Daegun blinked. You're treating me to tteokbokki? Just the 2 of us? Jimo asked nervously. Is that not okay? His pitiful puppy dog expression got to Daegun. He slung his arm around Jimo's shoulder. No problem. Let's go eat together after school. Jimo then found Gina and apologized. He invited her to tteokbokki as well to express his sincerity. Gina immediately refused. Jimo quickly explained he had no ulterior motives. He just wanted to apologize properly. Plus, the transfer student, Daegun, would be there too. Gina's friend, Yarrow, perked up the second she heard Daegun's name. Then let's go together. Gina shook her head. This is too awkward. If you want to eat, we'll go together another time. But Yarrow looked at Gina with pleading puppy eyes. Please, Gina. There's no better chance to meet the transfer student than this. Jimo added, you can bring your friend. 4 people's fine too. Gina sighed and gave in. Actually, I don't even want to go. But fine, let's go together. Jimo said he'd come find them after school, but the moment he walked away, he regretted everything. I'm such an idiot. What am I doing? I actually smiled like we're really going to eat tteokbokki today. I'm dragging an innocent girl into a nightmare. Then Jimo spotted Minsu, Daegun's deskmate. They should have a good relationship, right? Time flew, and after school arrived. Jungman and his crew from Bonggun High School were already in position, waiting like predators. Daegun, meanwhile, was walking with Jimo, Gina, and Yarrow. Both Daegun and Gina felt incredibly awkward about this bizarre group combination. Only Yarrow was completely focused on admiring Daegun's face. After walking for a while, Daegun noticed there were no open shops anywhere. He glanced at Jimo. Is there actually a tteokbokki place around here? Jimo's voice cracked. Yes there is, Yarrow chimed in. Real gourmet spots are always hidden in secluded alleys. I just didn't know there was a food place here. Never heard of it before. Daegun narrowed his eyes at Jimo. What's the name of the shop? Jimo's face went pale. He started nervously glancing around like a cornered animal. Daegun couldn't help but say, why are you panicking? It's like you've got some hidden agenda or something. But the next second, Daegun spotted a group of people in the distance. Jungman and his crew from Bonggun. Daegun immediately understood. Jimo's apology was just bait to lure him here. Furious, Daegun turned to teach Jimo a lesson, but Jimo dropped to his knees before Daegun could even speak. I was forced to do this. After this, you can kill me if you want, but I really had no choice. Gina and Yarrow realized they'd all been tricked. Gina cursed. You scumbag. At the very least, you shouldn't have dragged innocent Yarrow into this. By now, Jungman and his crew had closed in. Jungman looked at Jimo kneeling and sneered. Why are you kneeling to him? We came here to make him kneel. Daegun sighed. He'd have to deal with Jungman's group first. He told Jimo to wait right there. I'll settle accounts with you later. The other Bonggun students still couldn't believe Daegun had taken down 4 people alone. One of them muttered, and that guy kneeling looks so pathetic. How does he even survive at Golden Dragon School? Jincha warned them. Don't underestimate him. Jungman and I saw it with our own eyes. That guy's legitimately dangerous. Then a massive bald guy stepped forward. If this guy's really that strong, let me test him before we all jump him. Let me see what kind of skills a potential leader at Golden Dragon School really has. The bald guy walked up to Daegun. Let me spar with you first. Daegun was a bit confused. He wasn't sure if the bald guy was talking to him. Turns out, the bald guy had crossed eyes, making it impossible to tell where he was actually looking. The bald guy said, Don't look around. I'm looking at you right now. Deon didn't waste any more time. Hurry up and make your move. The bald guy took a stance. Through my own unique training method, I've developed extraordinary vision. These unfocused eyes of mine will soon make you suffer in agony because no one who's faced these eyes has survived. And with that, he charged at Deon. Jung Man, watching from the side, thought to himself, when did I become a corpse? But yeah, this guy's eyes are genuinely something. Eyes without focus make it nearly impossible to predict his attack direction. Gave me trouble back then too. I had to use wrestling techniques to subdue him. Wonder how the transfer student will handle it. Probably won't be easy. But the very next second, they all saw the bald guy being firmly choked by Deon's hand, completely immobilized. Jung Man was absolutely frozen. What the hell just happened? I didn't even see him move. And now he's got him locked in a rear naked choke. There's no way he's breaking out of that. Jung Man couldn't even tell if the bald guy was still conscious. With those crossed eyes of his, he shouted desperately, "Baldy, tap out, it's over." But then the bald guy's arm went completely limp, dropping like dead weight. Everyone watching went silent, stunned by what they just witnessed. Deon spoke coldly. "You don't actually think I'll let you go just because you surrender, do you? Didn't you all come here with the intention of taking me down? And you even dragged innocent people into this mess. Since you made that choice, you should have been prepared to get finished by me." The Bongun guys weren't having it. One of them shouted, "This bastard's really trying to act tough right now. Do you not understand the situation? There are 9 of us here. You think you can beat all of us?" Deon handed his bag to Yarrow, asking her to hold it for him. He said he'd wrap this up quickly and told them to stay far back. Then he walked alone toward the Bongun crew and said, "Don't come at me one by one if you've got any guts. Come all at once." The Bongun guys didn't waste another second. They spread out, surrounding Deon from all sides. Deon had already calculated his move. He rushed straight toward the guy closest to the wall. With a brutal diving tackle, he slammed the guy hard against the concrete, then followed up with a crushing punch to his face. The others charged in. Deon grabbed a fistful of dirt from the ground and hurled it into the nearest guy's face, blocking his attack completely. At that exact moment, a blonde guy launched a kick toward Deon's ribs. Deon shot up, catching the blonde's leg mid-air. Then, with a vicious sweeping motion, he yanked the blonde to the ground. Another guy lunged at him, but Deon sidestepped smoothly, finding the perfect opening to deliver a brutal uppercut straight to the guy's chin. The blonde on the ground tried to scramble back up, but Deon was already 3 steps ahead. He delivered another sweeping kick, this time smashing it directly into the blonde's face. Jimo, watching from the sidelines, was in complete awe. He'd known from the start that this guy was strong, but he hadn't expected this. Maybe this guy could actually defeat Gong and Yusol and become the boss of the entire first year. No, he definitely could. Jincha saw the battle spiraling out of control and barked at the remaining guys to move in. The two didn't hesitate, they charged straight for Deon. Deon immediately rushed to meet them, dodging the first wave of attacks like they were nothing. He slipped to the side of one guy and landed a devastating left hook straight into his ribs. While the guy was still reeling from the pain, Deon followed through with a right hook to his face, leaving him completely frozen in place. In the blink of an eye, only one guy was left standing. Deon struck first. A brutal kick to the guy's abdomen sent him flying backward. Deon didn't stop. He followed through with a spinning kick aimed directly at the guy's head, sending him soaring several meters through the air before he crashed down, completely unconscious. In less than 2.5 minutes, Deon had taken down 7 people. Even Deon felt a bit winded. He looked over at Young Mun and Jincha. "Now it's just you two left. Make your move." Jincha was trembling, both shocked and terrified. You're unbelievably strong. This is insane." Young Mun quickly stepped in, trying to analyze the situation. This guy's dealt with multiple attackers before. Just now, when 2 people rushed him together, he positioned himself in a straight line with both of them. That way, the person behind was blocked by the person in front, unable to attack. It created a one-on-one situation. And at the beginning, he went for the guy against the wall for the same reason. He knows exactly how to isolate opponents in group fights. Just then, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed from the distance. More people from Bongun were approaching. Deon's eyes narrowed. How many people did they bring? The newcomers were shocked to see everyone lying on the ground. This guy was really that strong? Well, lucky for us, we brought baseball bats. Jungman turned to Deon with a smug grin. "You're strong, I'll give you that. But we never said we only had 10 people. No matter how strong you are, what can one person do against all of us?" Deon felt a flicker of pressure, just a flicker. But then a voice cut through the tension. "Who says this guy's alone?" Deon turned around, completely stunned. He hadn't expected to see Manhwa and the others standing there, and his deskmate Min-Soo was with them too. Manhwa grinned. "I didn't expect our Class A leader to be out here fighting alone, but now we're here to back you up."